Herb here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in the All Things Wicked update for Dead by Daylight, going for the Adept Sable achievement. This one's going to be done from the Survivor side. It is to escape a game as Sable, only using her 3 unique perks. You are going to need to pick her up from the DLC pack or from the in-game store. You're also going to need to get her to a minimum of level 10 to open up 3 free perk slots. The perks you want to run and only run are going to be Weaving Spiders, which is going to be an invocation perk. You're going to need Strength in Shadows. And then finally, you're going to want to run Wicked. Make sure you leave the 4th slot empty if you have that available to you, and you can do whatever you want for items, add-ons, or offerings. Make sure you get into a game, and your goal is to escape using this loadout. Sable's perks are going to revolve completely around the basement, so I am going to recommend the first thing you do is try to establish where it is. Remember, the basement is always going to be located either underneath the main building or underneath the killer shack. So make sure you find those 2 things and then get a fix on where the entrance to the basement is. It's always going to be a stairwell, so make sure you keep an eye out. So once you finally enter the basement, you're going to notice this new gameplay mechanic that is going to revolve around her first perk. Her first perk is going to be a new type of specialty perk called Invocation Perks. The way that these are going to work is you're going to find a circle in the basement. It's always going to be in a fixed location towards the back right corner. Basically, what this is going to do is you're going to be able to hold right bumper next to it to have a little seance, and then as soon as you fill up this bar, you are going to have the perk kick in. So, Sable's Invocation perk in particular is going to take a very long time to fill up this bar, so you are going to be down here for a while, which is going to leave you quite vulnerable. Thankfully, you can have teammates also participate in the seance to speed things up a bit. Do keep in mind your teammates do not need to be running a copy of the perk, only the person who starts the seance needs to have the perk in their loadout. Whatever the case, if you can fill out this meter, what's going to happen is all of the generators on the map are going to take slightly less time to repair. So it's going to be pretty useful. However, there's going to be a catch to this in that once you do complete the ritual, you're going to have the broken status put on you, which is always going to leave you in an injured state and unable to heal for the rest of the game. So it's not going to be really worth the trade-off, and because it takes so much time to fill out that meter, you might as well stick to the Dead by Daylight fundamentals and just get on the generators to repair them anyways. It may be helpful towards the end of the game when you are down to a single generator left to be repaired, so make sure you do keep that in mind. It is always going to be an option, but again, it's going to have a high risk that is associated with it. Now, her second perk is probably going to be the most useful of the 3, and that's going to be to have the ability to heal herself without a first aid kit whenever she is in the basement. So, super duper useful if you end up taking a hit and manage to escape from the killer. In order to heal yourself, instead of looking for a first aid kit or a teammate to heal you, you can always just head down to the basement. You can heal yourself at no cost. It is going to be faster than the old self-care perk. However, it is going to be a little slower than using a first aid kit, so make sure you do keep that in mind. However, there's not going to be any limits to how many times you can use it, so do take advantage and then try to escape from the killer in a chase where you do end up being hit once. Then finally, for her third perk, this perk is going to give you the ability to unhook yourself from a basement hook whenever you want to for the first 2 hook states. So this one's going to be pretty useful, and it's going to be a nice contingency plan, especially if you're trying to take advantage of the first 2 perks and the killer ends up coming into the basement to give you a good old spook. So if you happen to be in the middle of your little seance ritual, or if you happen to come down to the basement to self-heal yourself and then the killer interrupts either one and then ends up popping you on the hook in the basement. Once the killer walks away, you should be able to free yourself on the first or the second hook state, and you should be able to mount a comeback escape after that. So that's going to be a basic rundown on her very basement-oriented loadout. However, do keep in mind, nothing beats good old Dead by Daylight fundamentals, and of course, you're probably going to have a slew of games where you don't go into the basement whatsoever. So in these situations, make sure you get on fixing those generators, and then hopefully you can power the exit gates and then escape that way. Or if your teammates happen to die off, leaving you by yourself, you can always take advantage of the hatch to escape if that situation presents itself. As long as you make it to the results screen with the escape status intact and you happen to only use these 3 perks, you should be good for the achievement once you hit this screen. There it is. It's going to be for 20 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.